Finding modern solutions to change the current economic landscape said to require everyone's effort. And the Ugandan Army Court remanded opposition leader Kizza Besigye in prison. Interpreting in sign language is Amantle Babili. Good evening. Ambassadors and high commissioners from 7 countries with whom Botswana shares bilateral relations with, as well as the Holy See Archbishop, presented credentials to President Advocate Duma Boko today. In a move to further cement and explore bilateral ties and cooperation in areas such as mining, innovation, digitization and health, amongst others, Botswana is firm in strengthening her foreign policy, achieving national development priorities and fostering her global development agenda. Usidile Onkabitsi report.
Strengthening Botswana's foreign policy is key to President Advocate Duma Boko's administration, a priority he pronounced last month at his State of the Nation address. Countries with whom Botswana shares bilateral ties, which span many years, such as Namibia, Switzerland, Finland and Algeria, are among those whose shared priorities align with Botswana's new development trajectory. Namibia, like Botswana, made her own history at the polls this election year, having elected its first ever female president, a development Botswana applauds greatly.
We appreciate the appointment, which cements our long-standing relations and our brotherly, sisterly, neighborly affinities, which we will deepen going forward. We congratulate the Republic of Namibia on the recent elections that you held. We applaud the outcome which resulted in the appointment of the first ever female president in the Republic of Namibia. We draw inspiration from this, and we trust that it will inspire the rest of the African continent as well.
Namibia and Switzerland are eagle's eye on exploring various avenues of cooperation with Botswana to promote job creation and private sector-led development.
Very core and very important is our peaceful coexistence. That is what will give birth, to the development that we are aspiring as countries.
To the private sector that is quite active in this region, the Swiss companies, we hope to be capable to introduce more companies to your market and in creating jobs, if this is possible.
The shared priority of upholding the principles of rule of law and diversified growth both fully align with Finland and Algeria's desired areas of cooperation with Botswana.
Sustainable smart mining. I already had on Tuesday morning a meeting with the Chamber of Mining in Botswana, with the Finnish companies. We had the brainstorming how we could do something closer in that field.
Botswana counts a lot for Algeria, especially to defend the oppressed people like Western Sahara, Palestine. So we remain always together.
With her eyes set on transformational and sustainable development, Botswana's national priorities are alive to the need for her to fully participate and contribute to regional and global development priorities. Utsidile Onkabetsi, BTV News, Gaborone.
Foreign envoys from South Sudan, Germany and Ukraine also presented their credentials to President Advocate Duma Boko. Botswana and South Sudan have enjoyed over a decade of bilateral ties and cooperation in several areas, with South Sudan cherishing Botswana's support from its founding days. President Boko hopes the relationship would be further deepened in leveraging Botswana's vaccine manufacturing potential for South Sudan's livestock population. Germany, on the other hand, congratulated the new administration on its victory and pledged its full support and commitment to partnering with Botswana towards growth and sustainability in several areas, including trade and investment. Botswana also sought to foster cooperation with Ukraine, who is far advanced in the agricultural sector, providing ample opportunity for working together.
We are looking forward to the stability of the country, and rest assured, Botswana is #1 in our list because we were the country that recognized South Sudan right from independence, and you gave us visa-free to enter Botswana from day one for independence. So we cherish that relation today, and we won't take it for granted.
Germany stands ready indeed to cooperate with you and your government and to support you wherever you decide that you need us. And I'm also preparing, I hope that will be sooner rather than later, a trip of German companies coming to Botswana next year. We are working with our Chamber of Commerce.
Our strong part is IT. Our strong part is education, and this is what we also plan to bring to the people of Botswana, teach them, starting with teachers, starting with state officials, provide them the solutions that we already applied in Ukraine and proved their efficiency.
Meanwhile, President Bongo also met with the priest of the Catholic Church who works in the diplomatic service of the Holy See. During their meet, Archbishop Henryk Jagodzinski conveyed warm regards from the Pope and cited the intention to further relations between Botswana and the Holy See. The Holy See is the central governing body of the Catholic Church, whose global footprint sits at over 1.39 billion Catholics across the world.
I am so happy that I could transmit to you the greetings and blessing of Pope Francis, and also to once again to express our friendship and good collaboration which related Holy See with Republic of Botswana, and also wish you all the best in the beginning of your high office.
President Advocate Duma Bongo has called on officer cadets who graduated today to be ready to serve Botswana's interest by participating in peace and security missions as may be required. He also called them to do more with little, as government might not be able to procure any hardware in the meantime due to financial constraints. On Tatileboti.
Officer cadets joined other commissioned officers and the rest of those enrolled in the military to begin their term of service in protecting and defending Botswana. President Bongo, who presided over this event for the first time, described them as men and women of steel who have the courage and fortitude to sacrifice for their own country. While he applauded them for the courage to join the military, he, however, challenged them for the work ahead, which they should be ready to engage in.
Botswana has in the past contributed our forces towards peacekeeping and peace-building missions. As part of the international community and with resources permitting, we will continue to do the same in our effort to contribute to international peace and security. It is through the proficient and excellent training and preparation of our forces that we may meet the humanitarian obligation we all must bear.
In addition, he shared with them the country's financial situation, calling them to prioritize and to preserve the little they have.
You need to preserve the little resources you will find available in your institution, because the government may not be able to afford any new purchases. The maintenance and care of government equipment under your stewardship should form part of your top priorities as subordinate commanders of various units in the BDF.
As they march on and join the society where they will serve, they should also not forget their moral obligation in society.
Your job as an officer is not only to protect and take care of yourself against these social ills, but to also educate and ensure your subordinates understand the consequences of engaging in such behaviors.
Among the class of 45 or 2024 that were commissioned were also 4 others who were recognized for their sterling performance during that training program. On Tatile Boti, BTV News, Mogoditsane.
Inclusive and collaborative approach to finding modern solutions to the current economic challenges and unemployment requires significant contribution of the youth. The Vice President and Minister of Finance, Mr. Ndaba Gaolatli, said this during the deliberation of the 2025-2026 budget strategy paper at the second Youth Pitso this morning in Gaborone.
The country's economy has suffered a decline in the real GDP to 2.3%, which the Ministry of Finance has attributed to weak performance of some sectors like mining. The medium-term fiscal projections forecast a financial deficit in the 2025-26 developmental budget. The Vice President Ndaba Gaolatli therefore underscored the pivotal role that the young people should play in devising long-lasting solutions to such predicaments.
This challenge has become even more significant in our rapidly evolving world, where technological advancements and economic shifts continuously transform the job market. This youth unemployment is not just a statistic. It represents untapped potential. It represents lost opportunities. It is a barrier to progress. And addressing it requires us to be innovative.
These deliberations put an emphasis on the need for government to scale down on expenditures to a more sustainable level.
We are of the view that we need to lessen the dependence of the reforms on government funding. We've got ready solutions to improve the Youth Development Fund so that it's not dependent on government funds, to also improve our leadership skills as youth. So we ask Your Honor and the Honorable Minister that you look at ready solutions that we have, that we've already tabled, that are gathering dust.
We'll be looking at you to guide us around how these funds can work. But the era of throwing money, Sida, Chema, no.
Young people leveraged on the platform to advise government on diverse avenues it could explore to generate more income.
All the factories in Tonota seem to be closing down, and this is because of the competition of the imported clothes from China. So we need to really prioritize that the made in Botswana garments that are made on our soil are positioned in a nice way in comparison to the ones that come on the shipping briefs from the Chinese market.
Tax issues when you are importing your products. You look at utilities, when you look at BPC, we are paying maximum demand. On average, you are looking at about 30,000 pula per month. And when you look at those OPEX, but in terms of growing that economy to leverage, or that sector to leverage on it, we need to have tax rebates, and also we need to zero rate in terms of utilities so that we become like Switzerland and all the other developed countries.
The second Youth Pitso was hosted under the theme, My Budget, My Right, emphasizing on the importance of engaging the young people in the national budgetary process. Keletlelezwe, Somolekai, PTV News, Gaborone.
The Vice President, Mr. Ndaba Gaolatli, says collective action by players in the mining sector is critical in harnessing the full potential of the country's mineral wealth. He pointed this out during a mining industry dialogue yesterday in Gaborone, where a report was launched to reflect on the conversations that took place at the inaugural edition of the Future of Mining Summit in June this year. Monica Sitwaila.
Botswana's economy remains heavily dependent on the mining sector, and persistent challenges impeding the performance of the diamond industry specifically mean significant decline in the country's revenue. The successful trip to Belgium recently by the country's leadership shows an unwavering commitment and hope to shape and build the sector going forward.
Amongst these challenges, Botswana has an important story to tell, one that speaks to the enduring strength and global prominence of our mining industry. Building on all these experiences, building on our failures, shortcomings, and successes, and I urge each one of us in this room and beyond that we join hands and our hearts so that we write a new chapter in the history of Botswana's mining sector. The pen is in our hands to craft a new story.
Local companies such as BOTSWANA have had to reduce production to cut costs. Nonetheless, there is hope in other commodities such as copper.
According to LME, the copper prices, having seen an increase of 15% in the past year, largely, again, due to the renewables industry. We expect this to continue, particularly for the copper and the base metals. And we're seeing this as a great opportunity for us to tap into the renaissance of industrial policy.
Investment in human capital is vital because in any business, you have the three things. You have the capital, which is your money, you've got the machinery, and you've got the human resources. I can tell you of the three, the most important is your human resources.
Mining companies are continuing to find ways to prosper amidst all the challenges.
The Joining Underground commenced in May, and currently there has been significant progress in advancing that, even though it has not been officially opened. But progress is continuing.
You do have other emerging jurisdictions in districts in Botswana. You've got what you call the Kalahari Suture Zone, what you used to call the Kais Belt, that extends into Botswana in Sabong and extends all the way to Hansi as well. Different geological setting, but that as well provides the Kalahari Copper Belt is copper and silver, but this one is actually copper, nickel, and also it has PGMs in it.
We are the only company in Southern Africa that uses technology to actually create sustainability, keeps our workforce away from danger, because it's the machines that go in. So when we talk about search and rescue, we're not talking about search and rescue of people, we're talking search and rescue of machines. So that's the future.
I'm confident that the insights shared today will help the future of our industry and contribute heavily towards building the new Botswana.
There's still a lot of work that needs to be done in marketing our diamonds, and particularly telling the provenance story in terms of what our diamonds have done. Everyone in this room is a diamond story.
Going forward, government has reiterated its commitment to help unlock opportunities and markets for the sector. Monica Satswaila, BTV News, Gaborone.
Thank you for staying with BTV News at 9. Persons with disabilities are pleading with government and private companies to heed their call to be treated equally in job opportunities and awarding of tenders. Speaking during the commemoration of the United Nations International Day for Persons with Disabilities, they spoke with one voice, affirming that they are capable and should be listened to. The event held in Francistown this morning was graced by the Assistant Minister for State President, Ms. Baipelo Muputing. Bethany Mando has more.
Different persons living with disability across the length and breadth of this country converged here in Francistown to deliberate on issues that affect them and lobby for government support. This commemoration is held every year since its inception in 1992, and persons with disability says they are faced with a number of challenges like discriminations which needs to be addressed.
Me challenge here na leo nre le bana le bogole go tla mo dikgwebong.
One of the challenges we face as entrepreneurs with people with a disability is that we are not considered when we have tendered for jobs. We do not know what are the reasons behind that.
ga re fenye ka mabaka a e leng gore ga re itse re ka goreng.
What does an inclusive future look like? It is a world where the wisdom and lived experiences of persons with disabilities are integrated into decision-making at every level. It is also a world free of barriers to education, employment, and healthcare.
Botswana Council for Disabled, United Nations.
Botswana Council for the Disabled, in partnership with United Nations Democracy Fund, will embark on an exercise to capacitate government departments in 10 districts on issues of disability, so that after the training, they have functional committees.
For the next 2 years,
the Assistant Minister for State President, Ms. Maipule Muputing, says disability forms a part of her advocacy and closer to her heart.
We want to now raise up and groom persons or people living, or differently abled persons, I beg your pardon. We want to groom and shape them into future leaders of this country. You need to have a voice in each and every single decision-making position and sphere in this country.
This year, we are commemorating this when Botswana had just approved the Persons with Disability Act of 2024. This act is meant to advance the disability rights and eliminate barriers to active participation of persons with disabilities in our different sectors of the economy.
The private sector, like BOTSWANA, has already taken the lead in making sure that persons with disability are not left behind in their operations.
Re ipetse gore ka ngwaga wa 2028.
We have set ourselves a target that in 2028 we have a workforce of 4.5% of persons living with disability. And since we started in 2022, we had 29 employees, and today there are 122 persons with disability employed at BOTSWANA.
Se ke mosepele o e leng gore re santse re o tsamaya ga re a felela gonefa.
This year's commemoration is held under the theme Amplifying the Leadership of Persons with Disability for an Inclusive and Sustainable Future. Bethany Mandu, BTV News, Francistown.
Horticulture farmers in the Central Administrative District, particularly around Sorowe, have suffered significant crop losses due to extreme heat. They decried high temperatures which have rendered their produce unsellable, resulting in substantial financial setbacks. Gabriel Meriki reports.
The extreme heat, with temperatures exceeding 40 degrees Celsius across the country, has left farmers struggling financially with nothing to show for their efforts.
Yeah, this heat wave that has been experienced throughout the country, more so in our area here, we've experienced so high temperatures, roughly ranging around 40 to 45 degrees. So in such a way that our production actually went down so much, and we lost so much really that we have to restart again.
Hey,
this heat has affected us. I even stopped planting because the heat started later. I had planted beetroot and carrots, but it was burnt even when we were watering. That's why I stopped and waiting for the rain.
Tamati e re bapileng le one e supa gore ga ena empha maduo a ke tholang ke a sologela mo go yone. Go ha ke na le di ekere.
These tomatoes that we are seeing here shows that it will not give me the yield I expected. I have 2 hectares of tomatoes. When the weather is conducive, I get about 60 tons per hectare. But now I'm expecting a harvest of about 30 to 40 tons per hectare.
Di mo thonyana ga di a tia sente yaanong ke soletse gongwe thobo e ka nang around bo 30 to 40 tons more.
Farmers have appealed to the government for support, particularly in the form of net shades and innovative farming solutions.
I wish the government could actually intervene and then assist us one or another in terms of the shade nets, in terms of even other intervention strategies. Like as it is now, I heard recently that the government is planning to lift the ban on the vegetables from South Africa and possibly maybe subsidize the farmers, which is a good intervention that we welcome so much with our open hands.
Hey, ga ke na ape mano kana mano ngwana ka tswa mo itsholelong
I have no solution because my finances do not allow me. I could have used some net shades for at least a hectare, but now I'm just using open field because I could not afford it. I think it's time we look into interventions like net shades. There are some schemes such as Impact Accelerator Subsidy, which focuses on helping horticulture farmers with net shades. The Meteorological Service Department has issued a warning about the ongoing heat wave, which is expected to persist throughout the week, urging citizens to take necessary precautions to protect themselves. Gabriel Mereki, PTV News, Sarowe.
Residents of Tsabong have received a borehole from the Department of Lands and Agriculture to use for their livestock. Water and sanitation official Mr. Fos Ramasuswana urged tribal authorities to ensure strict care of the borehole to avoid contamination. They believe the ultimate relief to local farmers who will now have adequate water for their livestock in the face of extreme hot temperatures that have exacerbated water shortage in Tsabong. In regional news, Ugandan Army Court has remanded opposition leader Kizza Besigye in prison until January next year. Besigye and his comrade Obed Ludale Kamulegeya were arrested by Ugandan intelligence in November. The duo will return to court for their case on January 7th, 2025. Besigye's attorneys have opposed his trial in the Army Tribunal and refused to apply for bail. Ugandan law does not permit trying civilians in army courts, but the state has taken advantage of the delay to affirm a constitutional court ruling to continue trying President Yoweri Museveni's opponents in the army court. Up next is Jose Hongwe with sport.
And good evening. This is Hosongwe with the Botswana Tonight Sports News. And with that, let's get straight into it. Botswana Tennis Association has begun final selections for the national team that will represent Botswana at the 2025 ITF CAT Southern African Junior Individual and Teams Championships to be held in Namibia in January. Khomesus Fago has the details.
According to the Botswana Junior National Team coach Wellington Sibanda, players will be engaged in a two-day round-robin games where they will be accumulating points to stand a chance to qualify for the national team.
In fact, what we did, we selected the top 8 from each age group, and then gave them the time also to come and play a round-robin. So after the round-robin, then we're going to see the points, and then also if West comes to the West, we're also going to use the CAT ranking. So select 6 players from each age group, under 14, 3 girls and 3 boys, under 16 also 3 boys and 3 girls. Then those who are going to qualify, then they are going to be represent us in Namibia next year on the 9th until the 18th of January.
Upon the completion of the selection, the team will go through rigorous training here at home and in Namibia before the start of the competition.
This one is like a team event, sort of. So when you qualify in Namibia, we're going to qualify for Africa Junior Championships, which is going to be played later on. Before you go for Namibia, we're going to have another training camp for those who have qualified. There's always an activity which you have to do during Christmas break. In tennis, in fact, it's unfortunate we don't break a lot. Around the 27th after Christmas, we're on again.
The tournament is scheduled to take place in Namibia from the 9th to the 18th of January 2025, where teams will be competing in both under 14, under 16 girls and boys doubles and singles. Khomzo Sefako, TV Sport, Gaborone.
Township Rollers beat Murupula Wanderers 2-1 in the FNB Premiership Week 11 encounter held at Royal Area Stadium in Tlukweng yesterday. Katla Khakule has the story.
The two teams started the game on a high note in an attempt to find the opening goal, but it was Rollers who scored the only goal of the first half on the 40th minute, courtesy of Sogalame Boy. In the second stanza, Murupule came back rejuvenated, enjoying possession, and their efforts paid off when they leveled matters through Kelvin Ndebele on the 73rd minute. Just when Wanderers thought they would go back to Palape with a point, Dina Dinanga gave Popa a lead to make sure that Popa secured 2-1 victory over Wanderers.
This is one game where you don't need to be that skillful. You need the heart, you need the character to play, because these games are these are the teams that will not let you want to play any good football or any shape. So you have to fight. If you can match them in fighting, then we will come through.
That was not it wasn't a bad performance. I felt we imposed our game plan better, but especially for the better part of the first half. We knew Tony Brothers are missing their key defenders, being the captain, Sinima Tumo and Fanta. So we planned to go straight onto the offensive, and we piled pressure. We had some moments where I thought, had we made better decisions collectively as a team, we could have made better scoring chances there.
In other FMB Premiership Week 11 games played yesterday, Chadibe FC held defending champions Jwaneng Galaxy to a 1-1 draw. Swa Flamingos and VTM FC played to a 3-3 draw. Nico United and Security Systems also drew 1-1, and Matebele FC and Flamingo Santos played to a goalless draw. Katlaho Kakwele, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
Still in FNB Premiership, Flamingo Santos coach Thaloban Tara says a lack of quality strikers who could easily convert chances into goals is one of the main challenges that has led to the team's poor performance of having failed to register a win in the ongoing FNB Premiership League. And Tara said this yesterday after the Habane outfit recorded their third draw following a 0-0 score with Matebele FC at Likidi Football Center. Victoria Duncan has more details.
To date, Santos, who got promoted into the FNB Premiership after winning the Premier League playoffs against the Palape-based team Motlakase, has failed to secure a win in 10 outings. The best results they have managed so far is 3 draws against Chadibe, BDF 11 and Matebele, which left them seated at the bottom of the log standings with 3 points.
You know, Bolo is about confidence. We have not been doing well. We have to stay positive. We have to encourage those boys. And eventually it will come. I think as they see the progress, as we create chances, they believe will come back. We just need to get 1 win, and I think if we can get 1 win, we'll get more thereafter.
In the 10 games they have played so far, they only managed to score 2 goals and conceded 26, a poor performance that they are trying to resolve before it is too late.
We're going to have to be patient. We need to look for those small improvements. We had chances. We need to start scoring. The past few days we spent working on scoring. We'll get a goal. But I'm quite happy that we're getting better as time goes on.
Santos will continue searching for their first win of the 2024-2025 FNB Premiership season when they host 9th place Nico United at VTM Arena on Sunday at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Victoria Dakin, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
And that is all that we had for you from Botswana Tonight Sports Desk. Until we meet tomorrow, have a good night. Now let's take a look at the headlines.
2024 officer cadets graduates urged to serve their country with diligence. Finding modern solutions to change the current economic landscape said to require collaborative effort. Ugandan Army Court remanded opposition leader Kizza Besigye in prison. Khosorongwe bringing us to the end of our news bulletin this evening. Interpreting in sign language was Amantle Babili. Up next is the weather update.
Good evening. welcome to Nice Weather Forecast. I am Obakeng Kaspar Matak. Today we observed partly cloudy conditions over most parts of our country, and still we're experiencing very hot to extremely hot temperatures over the entire country, especially over Kalaga District, Central and Northeast District, where we recorded 42 degrees Celsius over Tsabong. 40 degrees Celsius was recorded in Veda, over Suwa Town, Letlhakane, Francis Town, Silibe, Pico and Sani. We recorded 39 degrees Celsius. Now look at rainfall amounts recorded this morning at 8 a.m. 20 millimeters over Khomuka Sito Primary School and Tamaka Police, 15 millimeters at Ramapata Primary School, 8 millimeters at Mogorosi Primary School, 5 millimeters at Passolt Border Post and Chadibe Kota, 2 millimeters at Kazungula Primary School, as well as in Kwena Sereto Junior Secondary School. Over Kasani International Airport, we recorded some drops. Now, looking at the current satellite picture, clouds are still visible over most parts of our country. And these bluish clouds are showing developing thunderstorms, which are expecting them to thunder or shower tonight. On Thursday, we're expecting partly cloudy conditions over most parts of our country, with possibility of isolated thunder showers over most parts of our country, except over Central and Northeast District. Still, we're expecting possibility of fresh to strong winds over most parts of our country. Therefore, the public is advised to take necessary precautions. In the morning, hot temperatures are expected over the entire country, ranging from 20 degrees Celsius in Jwane up to 25 degrees Celsius in Silibe, Pigwe and Maung. In the afternoon, over Khanzi, Kalahad and Southern, we're expecting very hot temperatures, ranging from 36 degrees Celsius in Jwane up to 38 degrees Celsius in Khanzi. Elsewhere, we're expecting extremely hot temperatures, ranging from 39 degrees Celsius in Shakawe, Gaborone up to 40 degrees Celsius in Kasane, as well as in Maung. Therefore, the public is advised to take necessary precautions during these extremely hot temperatures. Now look at some cities in Africa. Over Antananarivo, Gqeberha and Cape Town, we're expecting partly cloudy conditions with maximum temperature of 25 degrees Celsius in Antananarivo as well as in Gqeberha. Over Windhoek, Luanda, Nairobi and Dar es Salaam, we're expecting partly cloudy conditions with possibility of showers with maximum temperatures of 31 degrees Celsius over Dar es Salaam. Over Luanda, we're expecting 29 degrees Celsius. Looking into Addis Ababa and Cairo, we're expecting patches of clouds to be visible. Clear skies over Khartoum, Tripoli, and N'Djamena. Looking into Rabat and Monrovia, we're expecting partly cloudy conditions with possibility of showers, with maximum temperature of 22 degrees Celsius in Addis Ababa. Over Tripoli, we're expecting 21 degrees Celsius. That's all I had for you. Have yourself a good night.
Coming up in this edition of Ion SADC, Namibia reaffirms commitment to justice for all as World marks Human Rights Day. Namibians urged to reflect on their role in promoting human rights. And 10 December marks the final day of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Greetings, this is Ion SADC with me, Salandikwa. Thank you so much for tuning in.